All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So we're in the garage today, and with my buddy Jason here. He brought his Model 3, 2019 Model 3 here, and he just got this. Now, Jason and I, we're good buddies. We're like dirt bike buddies, neighbors, and we're always talking cars. And Jason's always kind of been into cars. This is your first Tesla, so we want to do kind of like a Model 3 review video. I have a Tesla Model S, a 2015, and a 2022 Model Y. This is Jason's first model or first Tesla, and I've never really had much experience with the Model 3. I kind of feel like I'm exposed to a little bit having the Y because it's kind of similar to the Y. But Jason, so why don't you just tell us about yourself and the car and your experience?
Hey guys, so yeah, like Mike said, first Tesla. I've been an avid Tesla critic for a lot of my life. Never given it a fair shot, so I just came across a really good deal with this from another friend, and thought I'd give it a try.
You've had this, what, like maybe a month now or a couple months?
About 3 weeks, month.
But,
yeah.
Okay, so a month. So we kind of want to go through. Jason's got a lot of good automotive knowledge. You're a big Audi guy. Like I know you got a lot of Audi. So I think it's a good comparison.
Wear the hat. I forgot it.
The Audi hat. So Jason, like I think that's a good comparison to this because Tesla is kind of a premium brand. You're paying kind of higher price for these Teslas, and Audi is also a premium brand. And so I think you've got some good insight and comparison when looking at this compared to the more luxury premium cars that you're used to driving.
The finish quality is kind of the thing I want to hit on here. So when I'm driving in this car, this door it's never been in an accident. It's never been, the door's never been abused or beat up. But this panel, all across this shoulder piece, it rattles just to an irritating degree.
And luckily, this is still under warranty, right? So
Yes.
you hopefully some of this stuff will be resolved.
So 40,000 miles, 2019, one owner.
And it's the mid-range or standard range? Or
Standard range plus.
Standard range plus rear-wheel drive.
Another chief complaint I have for interior noise is this initial predominant dash piece here on the driver's side has just a constant persistent rattle right here. And I'm sure they have some sort of 3M backing felt tape that they could pull this apart and put under there.
Yeah.
And then if you just pan from the left bottom of the windshield over to the right, you can see this line right here. As it goes across, it starts to encroach on the windshield. Not enough to be a nuisance to the view, but you can see just under the windshield logo, it sticks up. So could that be a contributor to the rattle? It possibly could. Something may not be snapped in.
It's almost like that speaker. That's a kind of like a curved, like a sound bar up there, right? And it's almost like it's not sitting flush, like it's not level.
Which could, like I said, could be the contributor to the rattles. The theme of interior fit and finish. Right here on this speaker, if you can see, it's got this separation between the A-pillar and the speaker. And there is no way to move this because it's tied into the door panel. But it's got, I would say, almost a 1/4 inch gap. But then if you pan over to the passenger side, it has a very clean fit and finish. That line is continuous all the way up.
Yeah, yep.
It just seems like slight detail on the finish work could have went a lot further.
Yeah, yeah.
Just something that if you're considering purchasing a Model 3, you want to look at those fine details, because a 2-week repair process to get some of this warranty work done isn't convenient for anybody.
No, definitely not. All right, so one other feature we want to talk about, the windshield wipers, because I actually have this complaint in the Model Y as well. There's an auto feature. It just doesn't seem like it reacts very, very well.
So I feel like it could probably be brushed up with some better coating. But if you want the wiper menu, for one, you're driving down the road, you're digging inside this menu, you hit car, you hit controls, and you have your windshield wipers, or you just hit the left steering wheel stalk and you activate the quick menu. But most people would leave this in auto. In a premium automaker, that auto feature comes in handy. It starts drizzling, it starts snowing, you don't have to worry about it. But the coating on this auto feature, I feel like it wipes too much at times it doesn't need to, and it doesn't wipe enough at other times.
Yeah.
So trivial for some people, it might work beautifully for some people, but just an observation that I've had over my almost month ownership. Well, on the windshield wiper topic, I kind of feel like it was a swing and a miss with, here in Utah, we get a lot of snow. So day before yesterday, I came out, I hit the auto defrost feature from the phone, which is amazing. I love the ability to interact with the car remotely. So I feel like that system does great at defrosting the glass. But when you get in the car and the car cracks the window the way the frameless doors do, I hit the wipers to get all that snow shed off of the windshield, and I got a cascade of water coming down inside the car.
Yeah, it's like there's no drip rail right here to catch that. Like on some other cars, this would be a little more pronounced. This trim piece right here, and it would catch that, and it would kind of like a little gutter.
Often this A-pillar protrudes out further than the glass, but this is rather flush, and so it has no stoppage from shooting over. Yeah. The last thing I'm going to whine about, these door handles, they're great. I understand the aerodynamic principles. You don't want parasite drag on the outside the way a rearview mirror does. So they flush mount these. It's going to give you better range, better efficiency. But the one complaint I have, besides having to use two hands to open it, or I'm sorry, you can't really have stuff in your hands to open it,
right?
Is they freeze.
Oh.
So I came out the same morning, day before yesterday, got the car all scraped off. It did real good at shedding the water off the glass. I brushed off the paint, and then I hit the door handle, and nothing happened. And so I actually had to just push it in with my knuckle to crack the ice layer right here. These are cold weather observations, and it's cold right now. And so I'm wondering if maybe in a couple months or a couple weeks even, when it starts warming up to 60, 70, maybe the creaks and rattles go away. You know, I won't have frozen door handle issues, but
I've had the same complaints too. I think the door handles are quirky, but at least they're not like the Model S.
They're not electronic.
Yeah, they're not going to break.
They're mechanical.
Yeah, so I think they're probably going to be a little more durable. They're quirky.
So the same day, I had to get my scraper out of the trunk, right? Day before yesterday, snow covering it. Car did a great job. It shed everything. So I opened this trunk, and everything on the windshield cascaded right past this gap and just saturated the trunk. Under here,
that's not a very big gap there.
So it's deep, and it has a nice channel, and then it has this rubber seal around the windshield, and then the trunk gasket itself. But there's not enough space, and the water just leaked right over it, and it was just. And I'm worried about is how long does that water sit in there and start molding, or starting to smell musty. This is what we were talking about. Look at how much water is stored under there.
Wow.
Well, I've only had it, like I said, for almost a month here in the cold, but I only got cold weather complaints because I'm in the cold. So
yeah.
Storage for one. So obviously they have the wireless charging deck right here. It's just the versatility of these pockets. The cup holders are fine. I don't understand why they don't put the little expandable buttons in there to hold smaller drinks like, Red Bulls or
if it's not this size, I guess they have this little thing on the side.
And this is an upgrade we had to purchase and put in here.
Oh.
Inside this center console, okay, I don't know if most people even know this. It's got this hidden little drawer. Use your imagination what you can put in there. But then it's got this rather large under console compartment. You can see it goes back a little ways, and it's lit, so it's nice, and at night you can see in there. It's got ample storage compared to any other car in its class. These door pockets can fit large hydro flask, the metal water bottles.
One thing I want to talk as we're taking this for a drive is really just the range. I think that's probably the biggest surprise that the Tesla owner realizes is just the range or lack of range, or not being able to get the stated range. Like, for example, the car says right now it can get 213 miles of range. Well, I think you've learned by now, right, that if you wanted to go 213 miles, that's probably not going to happen.
I'm going to have to switch cars. But it's at a 93% charge, and it's stating the range is 213. The highest I can get it at 100% charge is 227. And I've never seen near that. So obviously your driving habits will dictate what your range is. But
yeah, how about like cold weather? Like we've had cold weather here. You were even thinking about trying to do like a long distance road trip in the cold, like through Wyoming, which is, worst case scenario cold wise and elevation. But the range really was something that really deterred you from even trying that kind of trip.
So the plans that I've had so far are Salt Lake to Phoenix, Salt Lake to Vegas, and Salt Lake to Denver. This car's not capable of doing all three of those trips. And I say not capable. Yes, you're going to do it, but you're going to spend almost 40 minutes, according to the planner, in stops 4 times above what a gas car would do. I don't claim my time's worth more than anybody else's, but time is worth money to everyone.
Yeah.
And if you have to stop 4 times for 40 minutes each to go between 500 and 700 miles, I don't think that's a win.
You'll do that one time and never do it again.
Yep. And most people, they stop to charge, whether they have free charging, whether they pay for it, regardless. During that 40 minutes, something's going to happen, right? You're not just sitting in your car every time reading a book or watching a video or playing a game on the tablet. You're going to go spend money.
Yeah.
You're going to go sit at Olive Garden or, sit at Applebee's. Wipers in the auto feature, I feel like it probably should have wiped a few times by now, and it's just enough on the windshield that it blurs your vision or makes you feel like you're obstructed in your view.
Yep.
And it's not wiping. So again, I just constantly find myself hitting the wiper. So now I don't know why it wiped twice. Maybe it...
Yeah, it's on auto. Like the camera can't see it that well. Like you can't see all the raindrops on the window, but it's like, yeah, it should have kicked on long ago. But
it's enough that anybody would have done it. So
yeah.
And then it did it there. So again, we're just kind of hitting on the erratic coding of the windshield wiper logic. Something I feel like this car excels at is ride quality. It's got a firmer ride than I think a Honda Accord or a Toyota Camry, but honestly, if you're considering this car, you're probably not considering an Accord or a Camry.
Yeah.
But the suspension is just in that perfect stiffness range where you don't get body roll. We all know EVs are heavier, right? They're heavier than a typical gas counterpart because of the batteries. But this car carries its weight effortlessly. We all know it's instant torque from the electric motors, the responsiveness on acceleration we've all come to love and enjoy. But the braking, the steering dynamics in this car are one of the things that you actually have a lot of control over. You can go comfort, so you can do the the Sunday drive feel. I think most people would probably just leave it there, but a standard feel on the steering wheel is it's a pleasure to drive, and it feels like anywhere you point the car is going. I actually did just take it up the canyon last night, and I was extremely pleased. And I have a variety of fast, responsive cars I can drive, but I felt like this carried its weight for the price point that it's at. It carries its weight effortlessly. Brakes quickly, it accelerates quickly, it turns quickly, it does everything you want. And here in the climate that we've talked about a couple times, the cold, driving in snow, for a rear-wheel drive vehicle that produces the type of power and torque this does, with snow tires on this car, it was an absolute tank. It was extremely responsive. I even forced it to get sideways, and it refuses to get out of line.
Yeah.
And that compliance is really important for the average person who buys an electric car, right? They're not looking to drift it around corners.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What would you tell someone who's looking at buying one of these? Like, recommend, not recommend, like, dislike? I guess that's kind of like what someone would be looking at is, do the pros outweigh the cons?
So you got to know what you're getting into. You're not buying an S, right? Like, that's a flagship car. You're buying an entry-level Tesla. Buy the car that has the range that suits your needs, because this car, even with all the things I've whined and complained about over the last few minutes, I would keep this car if it had the range requisite for the trips that I take regularly. If it had 400 miles of range and I needed to stop once to twice to get to my destination, I couldn't be happier with the price I paid for this car.
So really, this couldn't be like, for your situation, like, and even for mine, or maybe for any of you guys, is this you may not be able to have this as your only car. You still gonna need a gas or diesel car to tow, to go on road trips.
So that's an excellent point. If I'm gonna go on a Denver, Colorado, Phoenix, Arizona, or a Las Vegas, Nevada trip, I'm taking a different car. So if you buy an EV to save gas and that's strictly your purpose, you're really not. You have to buy a $22,000 car to maybe $35,000 car to save $1,100 a year on gas, like it just doesn't equate. So as a daily around town, go to work and back, running errands, phenomenal concept. But Tesla leads in range, but they're still not quite where you can replace the gas equivalent.
Especially the charging time. I think that's the real thing, is like when you look at you having to stay at a supercharger for 30, 40 minutes, whereas a gas car can refill in 3 to 5 minutes and you're back on the road. Like that's where EVs, I think it's like it works as like a hybrid model. You have one EV, you have one gas car, and you kind of have best of both worlds in those situations. It's
cost versus time. That's just something everybody's going to have to figure out for themselves. So, like in conclusion, if you're going to replace this with another car equivalent to save gas, you might be onto something. But you can't buy a $22,000 to $35,000 car and say, I'm trying to save gas. The savings just isn't there yet, in my opinion. This is strictly my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good point. Anyways, guys, feel free to leave your comments down below. Interesting to hear what your thoughts are. If you agree, disagree with these kind of likes and dislikes of this review, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.